it is a total outright lie. Twitter is a company that believed that it was not necessary for it to comply with Indian law.
I think is ridiculous. It borders on the cerebral blackmail, and it must be dismissed with the contempt it deserves.
Between 2020 and 2022, Twitter was violating Indian law multiple times.
If it can kowtow and subjugate itself to the EU and to the United States, it has no business to believe that it is above the law in India.
During that entire period, nobody went to jail, nobody was raided. Nobody went to jail, nobody was raided.
If it can kowtow and subjugate itself to the EU and to the United States, it has no business to believe that it is above the law in India.
What he has said is an outright lie. Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey was the CEO of Twitter during a very, very dubious period in Twitter's history. What he has said is an outright lie, and I've said that publicly, and I'm reiterating it again. Twitter is a company that believed that it was not necessary for it to comply with Indian law. It believed that it did not have to comply with Indian law and made up its rules as it went along. And the government of India has been very clear from the very beginning, for all companies that operate in India, they have to always comply with Indian law. That is point number one. Point number two, I just want to refresh Jack Dorsey's memory, and certainly all your viewers, that between 2020 and 2022, Twitter was violating Indian law multiple times. And it was in non-compliance several times during those 2 years, and it started complying only in June 2022. During that entire period, nobody went to jail, nobody was raided. Twitter now, it is there now in public domain that Twitter during this period was not only partisan, was behaving in an absolutely arbitrary manner, and the Twitter files that have then come out after Jack Dorsey sold Twitter has exposed Twitter to be a platform that abused its power, misused its power, and de-amplified many people, as in muted their voices, deplatformed many people, as in permanently took them off Twitter, totally in violation of Article 14 and Article 19 of our Constitution. And they did this in India, they did this in the US, and this information is now available in the public domain for everybody to read and see. We have always maintained, the government of India has always maintained that our objectives are to ensure that the internet is safe and trusted. that every intermediary like Twitter, foreign or Indian, big or small, must be always compliant with Indian law. And our laws have very clear provisions about weaponizing of misinformation, which is what Twitter did during the entire period of 2020, where they weaponized misinformation against the Indians and the government of India, and therefore they were exposed. So therefore, today for Jack Dorsey to suddenly wake up from his slumber and to try and rebrush the history of Twitter's conduct, and so far without any consequences, is to essentially say what I said in my tweet, that it is a total outright lie.
What Jack Dorsey has said to a television channel in the United States is nothing short of utter lies, blasphemous, and a little too rich, a little too late. Twitter must understand that it is not a sovereign nation. It is a company like most companies and must follow the laws of the land it operates in. If it can kowtow and subjugate itself to the EU and to the United States, it has no business to believe that it is above the law in India. They had all the options available to them, which they made use of. They went to the Delhi High Court, they went to the Supreme Court, and they were told in no uncertain terms that they must comply with the laws of the land. So for now, Jack Dorsey to say that there was subjugation, freedom of the press was violated, people were asked to report handles, I think is ridiculous. It borders on the cerebral blackmail, and it must be dismissed with the contempt it deserves.